We have established an organizing a preparatory committee that is composed of officers from Kisumu County and the national government. We have a Ministry of Devolution headed by the Minister Eugene Wamalwa, who has been here with us, and we are working very closely with them to plan Africities, the 9th edition in Kisumu, in two ways. One, the facilities necessary for holding the Africities Convention, particularly the convention center, being built and equipped, and that work is starting at the end of this month using modern technology. Secondly, the program for Africities 9th edition, which we discussed among ourselves together with the UCLG Secretariat in Rabat. So the program for discussion is still underway between us, but we have already prepared the draft of the local economic strategy for Kisumu County. This was done in the context of doing all local economic strategy recovery papers for all the 47 counties in the Council of Governors, and Kisumu is just one of them. First of all, we must know that urbanization is a thing of the future. By the year 2050, more than half the population of Africa will be living in cities and sub-cities, if you like to call it. One of the things that we must discuss is how we plan the use of our urban space, whether in a town or a little city or a big city or something. The use of urban space is very important. There are two important things about urban space. One, that the living conditions of urban dwellers must be humanly acceptable in terms of environmental sustainability and socioeconomic services. Now, many countries have come up with urbanization policies. We should discuss this in comparison with each other and find out what are kind of elements that must be taken into account in planning the modern use of urban space, where we have a sustainable environment for those who live there and where services are provided adequately for the inhabitants. I think we learned here in Cairo in particular that the Cairo city government is actually going out of its way to renew informal settlement in terms of proper urban space use, and it takes a lot of money, a lot of resettlement, and this is going on in Kenya at the moment. I would like to share our experience with Egypt and other UCLG members. I think it is important to really pay attention to that question, because I think the shift by UCLG to hold this 9th edition in an intermediary city was not accidental. As I said earlier, that the growth of population now in the future is going more and more towards urban living, urban life, and cities are going to grow exponentially in Africa. It is important that as we look at this exponential growth of cities, we look at what intermediate cities like Kisumu now look like. What are the conditions of living of the people? How are services provided? What is the infrastructure required for having a sustainable urban life in such cities? What kind of resources are needed to make sure that there is an adequate space, an adequate living areas for people? And the last issue is the issue of governance. As you know, you cannot have democracy if democracy is not local. Many books have been written about the importance of the smallness of government. You remember the first democratic institutions historically were found in Greece, and they were mainly in terms of local authorities, local living. Now, with big metropolises coming up like Cairo, Nairobi, and so on, how do you structure urban life so that democracy begins at the grassroots and is sustainable? The message that we want to take to Summit participants is that we welcome you to Kisumu. Not only will you enjoy yourself in this great city, but we have a robust program for everybody participating from all over Africa, both men and women, young and old, and all kinds of associations or local governments are welcome to Kisumu at the 9th edition, April 26th to 30th, 2022.